there, this is Sarah Kuhn. If you are an INFJ or in a relationship with an INFJ or related to an INFJ in any way, and you want to figure out how they operate, what makes them tick, and how to communicate with them better, this is the show for you. It's called The Quiet Ones. This is a show that deconstructs INFJs, what they are, how they think, how they feel, how they operate, and how they relate to people with other personality types. Whether you have just found out that you're an INFJ or have known for a number of years, there is something for everyone. You will learn more about your personality type so that you understand who you are and understand how you operate in the workplace, in relationships, in your family, and with friends. I want you to walk away from every episode feeling like you have a place of belonging, feeling like you are no longer alone, feeling like you have a place to be heard and seen and understood as you really are. This is a place to connect with other INFJs, to learn and grow and really thrive. I want to give you inspiration and real-life strategies that are going to help you figure out how to live your best life every single day. Though INFJs are very rare, you are not alone in this world. You are not the only one who thinks the way that you do and feels the way that you do. Hear from real INFJs just like you. Before we get started, just a quick word from our sponsors. Thank you to Darren, Kate, and Rachel Ann for becoming Patreon sponsors. We really appreciate your support and hope that you enjoyed the Patreon sponsor exclusive podcast episode for November called An INFJ Learning to Say No. In this episode, we discussed why it's so important for INFJs to say no, the best way to start saying no, and how to set healthy boundaries. You can help support the Quiet Ones podcast too and get access to exclusive podcast episodes, blog posts, and more when you become a Patreon sponsor for just $5 a month. Sign up today at patreon.com/INFJwoman. Find the link in the show notes. Hi there, Sarah Kuhn here, and welcome to another episode of The Quiet Ones. I'm so excited that you're here. We have a great episode today. I have been talking to some amazing ladies this week who've signed up for my program, the Growth Mindset Group. When you sign up, you get 3 free coaching calls, and with these coaching calls, we've been diving into things that they are struggling with and giving them some real doable solutions to figure out what they're supposed to do with their lives, to figure out what the right career is for them and really what their purpose is. I've also created this quiz to help you figure out what you're supposed to do with your life. I know that's a big thing for INFJs, and I want to provide you with as many resources as possible to help you figure this question out. What are you good at? What do you like to do? And what kind of career do you want? So this quiz will give you some answers, and if you put in your email at the end, I'll send you some freebies as well. You can find the link for the quiz in the show notes. Also, if you are interested in learning more about finding your purpose and finding the right career, it's not too late to get in on the free masterclasses I'm offering for joining the Growth Mindset program. I'm going to extend them for a bit longer, so anyone who wants to join them has a chance. It's only $25 a month to join, with no commitment or contract to sign. You can stop your subscription anytime that you like. If you have any questions, please feel free to send me a direct message on Facebook or Instagram, or you can email me at podcast@infjwoman.com. There's something else that I'm really excited to tell you about. I'm writing a book. I have wanted to write a book for the longest time, and I had no idea what I would write about or who would even read it. But this past year of writing my blog has really given me a lot of confidence when it comes to writing. And I so much appreciate everyone who sends me messages about my blog posts. It means so much to me. So I've been kicking around some ideas for a book for a while, and I decided to start putting some things together this past week. And I'm really surprised that I already have about 3/4 of the content done. It's about 50 to 60,000 words that you need for around a 250 to 300 page book. And I already have about 40,000 words done almost. So it's still going to take a lot of work in order for it to be ready for distribution, but it's coming together really quickly. I'm very surprised. There's also a lot that goes into putting something out there and making sure it's done right, but hopefully it will be ready to go early next year. So the title of the book is The INFJ User Guide. It's all about INFJs, our personality, what to do in certain situations, and how to handle certain things. It's meant as a guide for INFJs for their own personality and for anyone who has an INFJ in their life who just wants to know more about us. So like I said, I don't have a release date or anything yet, but I wanted to tell you about it because I'm so excited about it. If you're interested in getting updates about it, I've created a form for your email address so I can keep you in the loop. And there's a link for that in the show notes, or you can find it on the front page of my website, which is infjwoman.com. Okay, so in this episode, we're going to talk about how to survive the holidays as an INFJ. So let's get right into it. I absolutely love the holidays. It's such a wonderful time of year. I may have already started listening to Christmas music, actually probably a couple of weeks ago by now. I love this season and the cooler weather and all of the beautiful decorations, but at the same time, I'm equally stressed and excited about buying Christmas presents and giving them to my loved ones. I put a lot of thought into getting them something that they'll really like and enjoy, and it seems like it's 50-50 whether I hit the nail on the head, so they either really love it or completely hate it. I try to take notes though when they say that they like something or need something throughout the year. I have this secret file in the Notes app on my iPhone so that when it comes time to buying them gifts, I already have a list written down. I don't need to just start guessing. I will be honest though, I avoid stores like the plague this time of year. I hate it when all of the people are everywhere. It's really a lot to deal with. Amazon and Etsy are my best friends. I honestly think they were invented by introverts who would much rather shop at home on the couch in their jammies. There's a lot that goes on during the season though. A lot of events that you get invited to for work and your friends and certainly family. It's really easy to feel overwhelmed and exhausted just thinking about it. You want to go and see your family and friends, but you don't want to go at the same time. You still want that normal amount of space and alone time that you have throughout the rest of the year. After a couple of events, you're completely exhausted and either bail on everything else or suck it up at the expense of your mental and emotional health, being miserable the whole time. Does this sound familiar? This is exactly what I did for a long time. But let me tell you a secret. You don't have to spend the holidays in a miserable, exhausted state. There are some things that you can do to make it better and more enjoyable. You don't have to skip all the fun either. So I want to talk about a few of the things that I do to survive all of the mandatory fun. That's what I call it when you're required to go somewhere and you're required to have fun. It's mandatory fun, right? So the first thing is know that it's okay to say no. Don't feel obligated just to go because everyone else is going. You don't have to say yes to every party or every event. It's perfectly fine if you say no to some things. Also remember that no is a complete sentence. You don't have to give people a reason why you're not going. You can say something like, "Thank you for the invite. I appreciate you thinking of me. However, I can't this time, but maybe next time," and leave it at that. The next thing is to know your limit. As an INFJ, I have a limit to the amount of time that I can spend around other people before I need a break or need to leave altogether. I know what that limit is and I stick to it. It's okay for you to go to an event and stay for just 1 or 2 hours. There's no rule that says you have to stay for the whole event or for 5 or 6 hours. You can leave when you start to feel drained, or possibly even before that. If the event is at a friend or family member's house, you can make them aware of this when you agree to attend so that they are aware that you'll be arriving late or leaving early. This is part of setting expectations and boundaries that's not always easy, but it's necessary. The next thing is know what you are getting into. Every time I get invited to something, I start asking questions like, where is it? When is it? How long does it last? Who else is going? And what time do I have to be there? I like to be prepared for what I'm getting myself into. I don't like surprises. I also want to feel comfortable getting there and knowing where to go. If I'm not familiar with where it is, I Google it. Not only does Google have maps, but they usually have photos of the outside of buildings, and sometimes even the inside too. It helps me a lot to know ahead of time where I'm going. I like to know where I'm going, where to park, and how to get in and out of the building. Sometimes it's a lot more of a thing than you would think it should be. I look for anything that will help me feel more comfortable about going somewhere new. Because a lot of times my anxiety lies in getting someplace new and then not knowing what to do when I get there, not knowing how to get in, or not knowing where I should park. Especially if you're going somewhere downtown. Now that I've lived in the city, parking is like a nightmare in Boston. So for me, if I'm going someplace in the city, I have to have a plan ahead of time because I don't parallel park, which I know is ridiculous. But it's one of those skills that I've never learned, and I'm like, I'm not going to do that. So I always have to have a place ahead of time to have everything sorted out so I know exactly where I'm going and what's going on. And sometimes my friends are a little bit like, are you serious? You want to know if they have a parking lot at this restaurant I picked out? And I'm like, yes, I have to know. I mean, I'll Google it and see, but I have to know because if they don't, then I have to take the T, and that's a whole nother thing. But it's nice that there's so much information that you can find. And nowadays you can even find pictures of previous events on Facebook and Google. Or if it's just a restaurant that you're going to, you can find pictures. And it's helpful to know what to expect and how many people are going to be there and things like that. So the next thing is to help out in the kitchen. I always volunteer to help in the kitchen. I always volunteer, just for anything, mostly because it gives me something to do. I can still be at the party, but not have to talk to a lot of people. I don't really want to run the show in the kitchen, but I'm great at chopping vegetables and setting the table and going to get things. I'm also great at doing the dishes. It gets me out of a lot of small talk and into a much quieter place. Most people don't want to clean up, so I'm good with doing it alone. I'm being helpful and avoiding people at the same time, so it works for both of us. I also volunteer if they need me to run to the store and get something. That burns a lot of time and gets me away from people too, plus I'm super helpful. Another thing is know that you don't have to engage in conversations you don't like. We all have that one uncle or brother-in-law that baits people into religious or political arguments just for fun, except it's not fun for anyone except for them. Remember that you don't have to engage with them. You don't have to sit there and listen to their comments either. No one should have to endure that kind of torture ever. No one. As INFJs, it's important that we have boundaries with everyone. We need to know what's acceptable for us and what's not acceptable. And I'm not gonna lie, it will be uncomfortable at first, especially when you have to get up from the Christmas dinner table to avoid that person. But once you establish this boundary, it will be a lot easier to maintain. Have an escape plan. Have a plan for getting out of there. Like we spoke about before, you don't have to stay for the whole event. You can leave when you're feeling like you need to. Whether you tell people ahead of time or have a go-to excuse to get you out of things, just know that it's okay to leave. A lot of people use their kids as an excuse. I have to get back to the kids is a great excuse. If you don't have kids, you can use your niece like I do, or your dog, who can only hold it for so long. Set a timer and make your exit when the time is up. So the next thing is give yourself permission. Give yourself permission to do the things that you want to do during this season. You don't have to conform to everyone else's rules. I'm a very non-traditional person this time of year. I don't have my own family or kids. I don't even have a boyfriend this year. Plus, I live 1,500 miles away from my family. So I do my own thing. I eat Chinese food for Thanksgiving and macaroni and cheese for Christmas because I like those things. I watch Friends reruns and soak up the solitude during my vacation days from work. A lot of people make comments about how sad it is to be alone this time of year and invite me to their house. I always decline. I don't think it's sad at all. I'm happy to be healthy, and I have a lot to be thankful for. Most of all, I'm thankful that I'm not forced to be around people I don't like and have to pretend to be happy while being around them. I'll take solitude over forced conversations any day, even Christmas Day. Which brings us to our next point, which is schedule time for yourself. Make sure that you schedule plenty of time for yourself before and after all of these holidays events that you're going to rest and recharge. Self-care is so important to protect your mental and emotional health. Curl up in front of the fireplace with a mug of hot chocolate and get lost in your favorite book. Think about what you're getting yourself for Christmas as well. I bought myself a cruise for Christmas and my birthday, which is right before Christmas. I can't wait for April to be on the beach and enjoy being with my friends. So those are just a few of the things that I came up with for how to survive the holidays as an INFJ. If you guys have any other suggestions, I would love to hear them. You can always send them to me, either as a direct message on Instagram or Facebook, which is at INFJWoman, or you can email them to me at podcast@INFJWoman. Okay, so we have a couple of stories to share as well. And the first one is from Michelle, and it's about INFJ intuition. And she says, "To me, intuition is an extension of my spirituality. I will have gut instincts about people or situations, or about something completely random, and I believe this instinct is my higher power and the universe guiding me. It is super hard to explain to people in my life because sometimes I will meet a friend's boyfriend or meet someone at a gathering, and I will base my opinion about this person solely on my intuition about them and the energy I feel coming off of them. A lot of times the people in my life will ask me for examples of why I feel a certain way, and most times I cannot give them much more than talking about the energy or the vibe about a person or situation. I use my intuition to make any decision, pretty much. It works for me because I have learned through a lot of trial and error to trust my intuition more than anything else. I was in a relationship with a recovering alcoholic. I'm in sobriety as well, and my partner had relapsed. I had a feeling about them relapsing without a lot of evidence to back up the feeling, but I knew it was true. I listened to my intuition and got out of the relationship when I needed to. I have always felt secure in my decision to leave that relationship because when I make a decision based off of what my intuition is telling me, I am confident in that." Michelle, thank you so much for your story. I agree with you 100%. It's really hard to describe what it is, especially to people who have sensing personalities who've never experienced anything like that. And it's hard to say to somebody, hey, I have a really bad vibe about that person, and they ask you for evidence, and you're like, well, it's really just a feeling. And it's really easy for them to start attacking you about that feeling, especially if nobody else notices right away that that person isn't the greatest person. And I'm also glad that you're listening more to your intuition. The best thing that you can do is to lean into it, and it will get stronger and better and protect you from situations like that with your past boyfriend. Okay, the next one is from Shay, and she says, "Hi, my name is Shay, and I'm an INFJ. Here is how I describe INFJ intuition. My sister once told me that my intuition is like an a-hole detector. Maybe that's just what I use it for mostly, but for me that intuition started as just a personal feeling or thoughts or gut feeling that I always kept to myself. I never really felt it was true intuition or foreknowledge when I was younger. I just assumed I never fit in or never liked anybody truly. As I got older and had experiences with energy suckers and fake people who seemed to be nice but would stab you in the back the second that they could, I realized that if I started voicing those thoughts and giving that inner feeling an actual voice and told people close, most often than not I was right. Given enough time and their true selves will show themselves, or given the right set of circumstances, and these people's real intentions would manifest in more simpler ways. Now that I'm older, I find I'm more confident in my intuition and feel on people. I pay much more attention not only to people themselves, but also to my radar, as my sister calls it. I talk about my thoughts only to those I trust. I try to explain why I feel certain ways about people. I have yet to be completely wrong, but I always know there's a chance, which I think also, in a way, cuts me off from normal connections and friendships. Some people see it as being picky or judgmental, but when I ignore my gut feelings, I usually get hurt in the end. So it's easier for me to have my close circle than a lot of people around me whom I end up feeling isolated from anyways. Voicing it helps, even writing it down. Trusting it will only make it stronger. Hope this helps. Thanks. I adore your page." Shay, thank you so much for your story. I really appreciate it. I love that you call it radar. That makes so much sense because that's really what it feels like, honestly. And you really have to pay attention to it in order for it to work. And like you said, share it with just a few people who you trust and who are supportive of you. Voicing it does help a little bit sometimes, and writing it down as well. And like you said, trusting it only makes it stronger. Okay, so I have a couple more stories, and these are about careers. And the first one is from Nyla, and she says, I follow you on Instagram and enjoy your posts. I'm an INFJ with an interesting career. I work online as a teacher. I think working online is going to be a normal thing in the future. It's perfect for me because I'm an introvert and can focus my energy with little distractions. Nyla, thank you so much for sharing your story. I absolutely love working online as well, and I agree too that it's definitely becoming more and more mainstream. Now that I live close to Boston, there are a lot of people in the city that let people work from home. So I agree with you 100% that, in the future, it'll be a lot more and more normal for people just to be working from home. Also, I'm dabbling a little bit in teaching myself with my growth mindset group program, and I've done a few master classes and things, and I love it as well. It's really nice to be able to share the information that you have with others and see how it changes their life and see how it helps them as well. So the next one is from Roxana in Amsterdam, and she says, a couple of years ago I started my website to help other introverts make an impact in their career while working full-time in corporate America at Office Depot. About 6 months ago, I found out I'm an INFJ and my whole world turned around. I was already getting miserable in my job because it wasn't fully aligned with my values or what I wanted to do with my life. I was a functional analyst in the IT department. So when I realized that I'm really not in a career that's conducive for an INFJ, I decided I needed a change. So in the span of 2 months, I moved my whole family to Europe. After living 20 years in Florida, my husband and I wanted to get back to our roots. So when the opportunity presented itself, I applied for another college degree in something that I'm actually interested in. I said, let's go. So here I am now, starting a new adventure, more aligned with my INFJ personality, and I'm so excited about what's next. Roxana, thank you so much for sharing your story. I completely love that you changed your whole life in 2 months. That sounds like something that I have done several times. It's so completely amazing that just learning more about your personality helped you to understand why you were so miserable and then helped you be able to change it as well. I absolutely love that. And I hope that you're doing well in Europe and that your new career is going well as well. Okay, so the next one is from Daily INFJ, and they said, I never finished school, too scared of social interaction. I had small, very simple jobs. I became a stay-at-home mother to disappear. And now I'm a paid cat sitter. INFJs and cats. Love it. I really have to be my own boss. Thank you so much for sharing your story. I think it's completely awesome that you found something that you love. I've never really liked cats, honestly. I really wasn't a pet person very much until I went to stay with my parents for a while, and they have a little miniature Dachshund who I absolutely adore. I always tell people that she adopted me because she really did. As soon as I walked in the door, she walked over to me and didn't leave my side. So I absolutely adore her. But yeah, if I could get paid just to watch her, I would definitely do that for sure. Okay, the next one that we have is from Susan, and she says, I have taken many versions of this personality test for work. I have given it to my students in helping them decide their careers, and I just finally figured it all out. My results were always INFJ. No biggie, I am a teacher. My high school students always ask for guidance. I'm a people pleaser and a middle child, so I always wanted everyone to get along. I hate to read horrible news stories because I literally cannot function thinking about people in the story and how they are coping. It is all draining, and I really want to help others. I love helping my students in school and will do almost anything for those around me, but I always set boundaries. Work relationships stayed at work. I began to resent but put on the happy teacher face when students would call out to me or see me around town. I feel like a celebrity trying to hide from the paparazzi. Anyway, reading these posts had made me realize why, and I do feel better. I really thought it was a gimmick because everywhere I read that only 1 to 3% are in this category. I thought, yeah, right. I am different, but nothing special. But now more and more things are making sense. I have door-slammed old relationships, including my ex-husband, although I am forcing myself to keep some contact for the sake of my kids. My ex and my family never really understood why I divorced him. No infidelity, but just one more time where his demeaning behavior of me forced me to say, I'm done. He was floored. I asked for a divorce and slept in the kids' room until he finally gave up and left. He still wonders why we cannot be friends 10 years later. He got so much more from our 17-year marriage than I did. Thanks for giving me and others this platform to share. I feel like I have figured myself out a little more because of this. Keep it up. Susan, thank you so much for sharing. I'm so glad that you got away from your husband. Some people don't understand what they don't see. They don't understand that the little comments that people make such a big impression on us. And we really take those things to heart. And it's hard to put up with that kind of thing every single day. But I'm so glad that you got away from him, and I'm so glad that you're learning so much about your personality, and it's making such a difference as well. Okay, so the last story that we have is from Lynn, and she says, I'm currently an operational trainer for a pharmacy benefit company. I started at the company as an entry-level call center agent, helping people with their specialty disease medication orders. Shortly after, I started volunteering in training classes for new hires and upskills. I loved the idea of sharing my knowledge and helping others, but was extremely introverted. I used my time to get out of my shell and have the courage to speak publicly and open up to others. I was excellent at my position and just needed a reason to share it with others. It helped me so much to get to where I am today. I don't feel like it's my true purpose in life. I think I'd thrive better in one-on-one scenarios and making an impact individually. I've always been drawn to helping others, but the large setting of 5 to 30 people at a time is overwhelming. Also, trying to play by the rules of a corporation and adapt to everyone with different personalities can be difficult. Do I know what my purpose is? I've pondered this question many times as a child and as an adult in my 30s. I'm not sure what my purpose is or what path I was meant for. I find it extremely hard for others to understand me and my dream or mind. It takes a lot of effort for people to relate to me versus me relating to them. I hope I find my true purpose at some point before I pass away. Thank you for letting me share. I just joined your Instagram and I'm very happy I found it. Lynn, thank you so much for sharing. I really appreciate it. I'm so glad that you found my Instagram too. And I really hope that you do find your purpose. It's not too late, even if you're in your 30s. I'm about a month away from turning 34. 34 this year, I think. I always forget. And it's kind of ironic that I forget because I used to make fun of my dad for forgetting, and now it's me who forgets. I always just tell people 35 so I don't have to remember. Even at that age, it's not too late to find your purpose. I'm sure that there's something out there that you were meant to do. I wanted to talk a little bit about careers because I know it's difficult finding the right careers for INFJs. We want something that's meaningful and important. We want to do work that makes a difference to someone, that helps people in some way. I struggled for years to find the right thing to do. I felt so lost for such a long time, and I didn't even know where to start looking at all. It makes such a huge difference when you can look at what you're good at and what you like to do and bring those things together in a way where you're helping people. If you're in the same place that I was, struggling to figure out what to do, I would love to talk to you. First of all, I want you to know that you're not alone. I've been there and I know exactly how you're feeling. That's also why I put together this program that's called the Growth Mindset Group, to give you the exact steps that you need to figure out what your passion project is, what your dream career is, and then to get to work on it. The Growth Mindset group is only $25 a month when you sign up before January 1st, so don't wait. When you sign up, you get a bunch of amazing bonuses as well that are worth well over $500. You get 3 free one-on-one coaching calls so that we can dive into the things that you're struggling with the most and give you some real solutions in order to be able to fix those. You also get 2 free masterclasses, one about finding the right career and one about finding your purpose. And I separated them because not everybody has a career that's their purpose. Some people have a purpose that's separate from their career, and that's okay. So I created 2 different ones because I wanted to talk specifically about different career paths, but then also in a separate one to talk about what your purpose is and how to find that purpose, how to even define it, because some people don't even know what it is. You just feel like you're supposed to do something bigger than what you're doing, and you're not really sure what it is or how to fulfill that feeling. So in this class, I'm going to give you the exact steps that you need to take to figure out what you're supposed to do with your life, and then how to go and do it as well. I know it sounds like a lot for a couple of hour-long classes, but you'll be surprised at how simple it is when you know where to start. I've also created a quiz that will help you to be able to figure out what career path that you most want to take. This is something that I really struggled with when I was in college. I actually took a separate class on how to find the right career, and it didn't really help me a lot at all, honestly. But I've taken everything that I've learned and been able to create these things in order to help you so that you don't have to feel lost like I did. So if you're interested in the quiz, it's completely free. You'll find the link for it in the show notes. And if you put your email in, I will send you some freebies as well. And again, if you have any questions, please feel free to send me a direct message on Facebook or Instagram at INFJWoman, or you can email me at podcast@infjwoman.com. All right, that's all that we have for today. Thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate you. If you have a story that you'd like to share, I would love to hear it. You can submit it to podcast@infjwoman.com, or you can send it to me direct on Instagram at INFJWoman. Thank you again for listening and for supporting the Quiet Ones podcast. We'll see you again soon.